Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 4, and we will be tackling the Republic Philippine Independence.
Republic Philippine Independence. Republic of the Philippine Independence began on July 4, 1946, when the U.S. granted full freedom through the Treaty of Manila. The country established its own government, laws, and democracy. It focused on nation building, education, and economic growth to strengthen its independence and progress as a sovereign nation. The Republic of the Philippines gained full independence, and it allowing the country to govern itself and build a strong nation. The mark the start of its journey towards democracy, economic growth, and national identity. Next is the purpose of education during Republic of the Philippine Independence. After the Philippines gained independence in 1946, education became an important tool in rebuilding the nation. The government aimed to develop a strong sense of nation, identity, prepare citizens for democracy, and improve country economy. So, after gaining the independence, the Philippines used education to rebuild the nation. So, school promote nation by teaching Filipino history, language, and culture to strengthen national identity. Democratic participation was encouraged by educating citizens about their rights and responsibility in governance. Also, education also helped with economic growth by providing skills for farming, industries, and business, and also creating more job opportunities. Then, promote social equity, which is the government expanded school and scholarship to give all Filipinos access of their learning. And then lastly is education focused on moral and ethical values, teaching discipline and responsible to shape good citizens. So all of this education help develop a strong, united, and progressive Philippines.
So here are the teaching and learning methods during the Republic Philippine Independence. So first is the vernacular language, also known as local language. It also refers to a language spoken by people in a specific region or community like Tagalog, Ilocano, Cebuano, and many more. Back then, local languages were prioritized in teaching to make education more accessible and culturally relevant. So, local language ang ginagamit ng mga teachers sa pagtuturo noon instead of relying to English or Spanish. And next is Philippine-centric curriculum. So, curriculum is focused on Filipino culture, history, and experiences. For example, students might study the life of Jose Rizal or other heroes to foster a sense of national identity and pride. And third is the vocational education or vocational education. Practical skills training was integrated in the curriculum to prepare students to the workforce. So, practical skills like carpentry, sewing, farming, and many more. And number 4 is community-based learning, meaning lessons in the classroom are connected to real-life situations, like using local environment and community issues. So, this encourages students to actively engage with their surroundings and apply what they learned to solve local problems. And number 5 is emphasis on critical thinking. So it aimed to develop students' ability to analyze information and form their opinions. So instead of rote memorization, students were encouraged to ask questions and think inside the classroom. And lastly, teacher training. So there was a need to train teachers to effectively implement the curriculum and teaching methods. So nagko-conduct sila ng mga workshops and seminars to equip teachers with the skills to teach the lessons effectively.
Teaching content is connected to teaching and learning methods. So first, focus on Filipino identity. By learning about their history, heroes, and cultural traditions, students develop a stronger sense of self and national pride. Second, local history and geography. Learning about local history make the past more tangible and relatable, fostering a connection to their immediate community and its place within the larger national narrative.
Third, civic education, equipping with knowledge about their government, the electoral process, and their rights empower them to be active and responsible citizens. Fourth, notable figures. These figures serve as a role model, embodying values like patriotism, courage, and intellectual curiosity. Studying their lives inspires students to strive for excellence, to stand up for what they believe in, and contribute to the betterment of society. And the last one is vocational training. Vocational training provides students with tangible skills that can lead to immediate employment opportunities.
Teachers during the Republic Philippine Independence. During the Republic era of Philippine education, post-Philippine Independence in 1946, teachers were primarily Filipinos who had been trained under the both American colonial education system and the newly established Philippine educational system. Here are key groups of teachers during this time. First, post-war educators. From 1946 to 1950s, many teachers were survivors of World War II, including those who had taught under the Commonwealth period. Former Thomasites trained teachers continued to serve in school. New teachers were trained at institutions like Philippine Normal College, now PNU, and the University of the Philippines College of Education. The government prioritized rebuilding schools and retaining teachers due to the war damage. Second, teachers under the 1950s to 1970s educational reforms. The government emphasized nationalism and Filipino identity, moving away from Americanized education. More Filipino scholars and experts in education took leadership roles. The teaching profession saw an increase in women educators. Technical and vocational education has expanded, requiring specialized instructors. Third, key influences and training of teachers. Teachers were guided by policies from the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, also known as DECS. Training was influenced by Jose P. Laurel's philosophy of education, emphasizing nationalism. Institutions like PNU and UP College of Education became major training grounds for future teachers.
The curriculum during Republic Philippine Independence. The curriculum during the Philippine Republic after the 1898 Declaration of Independence underwent significant changes to align education with the country's newfound sovereignty. Several key features characterize this period. Number one is the use of the vernacular. The local languages were promoted as mediums of instruction to ensure that the students could understand lessons better and relate to their learning experiences more naturally. Number two is the Philippine-oriented materials. Instructional materials were revised to focus more on Philippine culture, history, and industries. This was meant to instill national pride and develop skills relevant to the country's needs. Number three is the subject revisions. Key subjects such as social studies, science, language arts, and arithmetic were updated to make them more relevant to the Philippine context, ensuring that they met the country's educational goals. Number four is the introduction of vocational education. In practical skills, training was introduced, preparing students for various trades and industries. This was essential in promoting economic self-sufficiency and industrial development. Number five is the diverse teaching methods. Educators experimented with different approaches, including subject matter centered, focus on structured content and academic discipline. And number two is student-centered. It encouraged active learning and independent thinking. Number three is the community life-centered. Integrated lessons with real-life community experiences to make education more practical and applicable. And overall, this period marked a shift toward making education more nationalistic, practical, and relevant to Filipino society.
Legal mandates. Educational Act of 1901, also known as Act Number 74 of the Philippine Commission. During the American colonial period, several laws shaped the Philippines' education system by introducing centralized governance, American Teaching Method and Secular Education. Sections 1 to 13 Act of were meant to establish a highly centralized system. Educational Act of 1901, Act Number 74, Centralized System. Section 1 to 13 place education under government control for uniform policies. Section 14 to 15 provide for the importation of American teachers. Thomasites, importation of American teachers. Section 14 to 15, Thomasites were brought in to teach English and train Filipino educators. Section 16 provide for the separation of church and state. Separation of church and state. Section 16 made public education secular, removing religious influence. Section 17 created the Philippine Normal School, now Philippine Normal University. Philippine Normal School. Section 17 established now PNW to train Filipino teachers. Advanced subjects for grade 7 to 12. The Department of the Public Instruction set up 3 levels school system. There are 3 levels of the school system. Elementary level, basic education, grade 1 to 6. Secondary level, advanced subject, grade 7 to 12. Tertiary level, higher education, college, and university. Act number 3162 and 3196 made possible to conduct of the Mender Survey recommended of the following: educational reform regarding method and techniques of teaching, training, and curriculum. And the last is evaluation of teaching and learning. Introduce in standardized testing and development.